I mean, a number of these laws that we're talking about, the intent behind them is to prevent certain school and university shootings and other mass shootings. At least that's what they'd have you believe. And I'm thinking of that Florida State shooting just a few weeks back, unfortunately. Now, granted, the perpetrator of that, I think I think he was 20 years old too, wasn't he?
Oh, I don't remember.
But, like you could pass any number of these laws that we're talking about today. And the reality is he got a hold of that gun from his mom, who is a deputy sheriff or retired deputy sheriff or whatever, right?
Like here, like there's exceptions to what I'm about to say, but as a gross, massive rule, almost with very few exceptions, mass shooters are first-time criminal perpetrators, and like repeat offenders aren't mass shooters. So what I mean by that is, like, we talk about all these mass shootings. We talk about Parkland. We talk about the Aurora Theater one. All these ones. There's a couple big ones that have happened this year already. These people are not repeat offenders. They're not gangsters. They're not they're all people who would pass a background check like without problem. So you can't stop someone from committing a crime if that person is able to go pass a background check and buy guns. So then you're like, oh, well, then we'll just keep them from being able to buy guns because they're only 18 to 20 years old. And have you ever had children? Like, these are people are pretty creative and determined. Mm-hmm. If you're 20 years old, like, oh my gosh, I want to go shoot up a school, but I can't because I'm not 21 yet, then I think that you are naive to think that that's going to be the thing that keeps them from perpetrating that crime, or that, they won't just commit it next year.
Yeah, I mean, in the case of that school shooting in Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, that was a former student of that school,
right,
who is now an adult.
Yes,
like not even like 18, 20, but like 24, 25 years old, something like that, who went back to her previous school to shoot the place up. So yeah. And I think this is part of what Ryan Petty in his recent article, which is fantastic, by the way. I read it and I read your article, which introduced me to that. Part of his point there is there's other solutions we need to be looking at to prevent such things.
Yes.
We have a society, unfortunately, that we have a whole subgroup of people in our society who are marginalized, minimalized, who are hurting in various ways and forms, who don't know where to turn for help, who feel like they've been trampled upon all their lives, that they're not important, they're whatever it is, that just get to a point they can't handle it anymore. They have nowhere to turn. They don't know any other way to take out this rage and this hurt that they're feeling,
to spread the message.
Right. And so, like, I want to be heard. I want to be noticed. So what's one way I can do that? Well, I can go get my name and face plastered all over the nightly news and let them know of this rage and this anger,
this
and
injustice.
Exactly. By shooting up a school and killing a bunch of kids, right? Like that's not solved by passing laws like what we're talking about here. That's solved.
Yeah.
And frankly, there's no way we can really truly solve all those kinds of situations.
But we can work toward, supporting solutions that minimize that problem.
Right. Mental health is a big part of it. Yeah. And all kinds of resources are a part of it, cultural and societal, and just being better human beings and taking care of our own, taking care of our neighbors, checking in on people, making sure people, have friends and have something they belong to, a purpose, a job, something that they're working towards, something that gives them hope.
Yeah.
Like these are way bigger problems than something that can be handled with, frankly, quite narrowly targeted legislation. And it's, by the way, it's narrowly targeted because that's what they feel like that's what they have to do to get it to get by. These people would just outlaw all guns, period, and take everything away. At least they think that they could, if given the opportunity to do so.
Yes.
And even that would not necessarily solve the problems we're talking about trying to solve. Anyway, we've kind of gotten into the weeds there, but I think this is part of the discussion too, on some level, as far as what's driving this kind of legislation.
It's important that people who are listening to this or watching this understand that we're not opponents of the violence. Like, Riley and I don't like that these things happen, and we are in favor of talking about and proposing solutions that would reduce the gun deaths and the violence, for sure.